Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
The human voice is kind of like a code that can be cracked to figure out what the person is really saying. And a lot of times the person doesn't want you to know what they're saying because it's different than the words. So in this video, we're gonna break down this recent interview between Elon Musk and Tucker Carlson to get to the kind of sinister message that Elon Musk is really saying and see if he's telling the truth or not. And in addition to that, I'm bringing in the newest AI tech here with Ace. And if things go as planned at the end of the video, he's going to give a very brief, easy to understand summary of everything that I go over in this video. So we'll see how it goes. I messed around with it, not 100% confident, but you ready, Ace?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
It's going to be interesting. So to start out, we need a baseline of Elon Musk just to kind of see what he sounds like when he talks normally. So we'll watch this video here just to kind of get a feel for his cadence and how he speaks.
We like woke, the woke mind virus.
Yes.
It takes the place of religion.
Yes.
Okay, that's how he sounds normally. So what do you notice different in this video here where he's talking about the Epstein list?
You know, I think part of why Kamala is getting so much support is that if Trump wins,
Notice anything with his hands?
that Epstein client list is going to become public.
Yes.
And some of those billionaires behind Kamala are terrified of that outcome.
Yeah. Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
Okay, all right. So what do you notice with his tone right there? So the vocal tone itself, very low, right? It lowers. The tone itself actually lowers a few notes. If you look at an octave, like on a musical scale, it lowers a few notes. What else? Reduced emotion. There's not as much dynamic range in the voice. Like you hear me speak and I'm like, look at this, and now down here and it's up here. There's a lot of expression. Yes. And Gates. Listen to it again.
Do you think Reid Hoffman's uncomfortable?
Yes.
Yeah.
And Gates.
And Gates.
Yeah.
Okay, now look at his eyes. This is an important thing. When I was looking at this, I just saw this morning on X, and it reminded me of this dude here. I'll just show you the clip.
23, 22 baby mother. Real bad man.
So look, do you notice the eyelids are low and it's just very deadpan? It kind of reminded me of that. But the reason that that's important is because the gravity of the situation. He knows what he's talking about is quite serious stuff. Some of the most powerful people on the planet. And he senses the gravity. So that's another key that we can look into, another hint, another tell to how he's feeling as he says this. The tell that he gives that exposes the most about his nonverbal communication is his hands not only up, but they're covering his mouth. And a lot of people think that that means the person is lying, but that's not true. If you ask any like CIA body language expert that actually has to read truth from distruth, they'll tell you it means three things in this context. And number one is uncertainty if the person should be saying what they're saying. And that makes sense here because Elon Musk probably doesn't know if he should be throwing these powerful people under the bus, even though he takes about as much heat as any human ever has. Does he want to set himself up for more? I don't know. He's clearly on the fence. Also, nervousness and subconscious discomfort. A lot of people see this and they think, oh, he's doing it intentionally. No, it's a subconscious thing that his body is feeling anxiety and nervousness, and it's something that you can kind of do to diffuse that. Another thing that people do sometimes when they're uncomfortable, rub the back of the neck. That's also a very strong sign of discomfort. And then last, it buys time because people feel like, once again, subconsciously, when their mouth is covered, they can kind of buy a little time to think, to word it correctly, because he probably is worried if these words come out incorrectly, it could sound even worse, or implement them in a different way that he didn't mean to intend, because most of the things that he says, get misconstrued all the time and taken out of context. So he's probably thinking about those three things. It's really amazing how much power, especially as a man, your voice has on your perceived status. And so many people think it's something you're either born with a good voice or not. But I'll tell you what, if you give me a man who has an incredibly weak voice and a high voice that he's born with, and he learns I can teach him how to use it correctly, versus someone who's born with an incredibly powerful voice, all day I would guarantee the guy who's learned to use his voice correctly, if you have somebody behind like a curtain and they can't see him, they're going to assign higher social status to the guy who's learned to use his voice. It's all about what you're communicating behind it, and that has nothing to do with the kind of voice that you were born with. It always shocks guys when they think you either have some deep voice or a high voice. There's nothing you can do. But you 100% can, and it's one of the easiest things that you can do to improve your social status, but also one of the most powerful things. You can tell I'm passionate about it. I actually have a program called the Vocal Power Bootcamp, and it's pretty intensive. It's not a light course. It's a 30-day course that'll teach you everything that I know about how not only to get a strong voice, but what we want to do is communicate power and confidence, because it impacts you at work, whether you're at sales or work for a corporation. And ironically, it helps guys so much with dating and attraction, just because, once again, it's what you're communicating in the assigned status. You ever seen those shows where they have somebody like dress in nice clothes and they ask like a random woman, what do you think he does for work? And she's like, oh, he's a stockbroker, right? And all these things. Your clothes do have a big impact, but not as much as your voice. So I'll put a link in the description below if you want to check that out. So I think it's time to go back to old Ace. Ace, are you ready? If you are, please proceed with the summary.
Here's a breakdown of the key findings. Elon Musk's voice is low and shows minimal emotion with flat eye contact. His gesture of covering his mouth is often mistaken for dishonesty, but it signals uncertainty and nervousness. This suggests he's likely telling the truth, especially when discussing sensitive topics like Bill Gates and Reed Hastings' connection to Jeffrey Epstein. His careful word choice reflects the gravity of these implications.
That was solid. What do you think? Is Ace helpful? Let me know in the comments below. I'll talk to you next time.